Good morning, Moultrie. It's Matt Wright, Superintendent of Moultrie School District. I'm glad you're back. I hope everybody got to check out yesterday's video as we continue discussing the potential impact of changing our school calendar and what exactly that could look like. And here's today's big question. Did you consider a 4-day school week? And the answer to that is yes, we did. And there are some positives to a 4-day week. There are some potential financial savings that could be realized. You're not running buses. You're not running a food service program. You're not doing those things 5 days a week. You're not cleaning your school 5 days a week. And I really feel like there are some teachers who love a 4-day week, at least those that aren't inside of our district that I have visited with. There are several articles out there that suggest that it's also an effective way to combat teacher turnover. So while it is effective, or it could be effective, while it probably is working in other districts, here's why that didn't sit well with us. And I want to start off by looking at the impact on elementary age children, especially your little ones. Increasing the day of a 5 to 10-year-old just does not seem like a good idea to us. There are some of our kids who right now, they get on a bus at 6:50, they get off at 4 o'clock. So the whole idea of a 4-day week, you're still going the same amount of time, the same hours as you would in a 5-day week. You're just doing that in 4 days. So you're increasing the time during 4 days that you'll be attending school. If we did that, we would look at some of our kids getting on a bus at 6:15, 6:30, and getting off of a bus at 4:45 or 5 o'clock. Ask any elementary teacher, and I think a lot of them will tell you that kids struggle in the afternoons. I don't think you have to ask an elementary teacher. I think that's the same for high school students. I think that's the same for all of us, is that as the day progresses, we become tired. We just aren't as sharp as we are in the mornings. And so I think that our elementary teachers would tell you, with our kids struggling, that adding time for little ones, that would be a concern. At the high school level, what that looks like is you're removing a day of instruction from high school once a week, or a period from each teacher. So let's say you're talking about 10th grade English, and you're going to remove Friday, but you still have to keep the same amount of instructional time. So you're taking that 48 or 50 minutes that you have on Friday, and you're going to divide that up, and you're going to distribute that evenly Monday through Thursday, okay? So you take those 48 minutes, teacher does a lesson. What are you going to do with the remainder of time, the 12 extra minutes that you're adding on to the tail end of that period from Friday? Are you going to start a new lesson? Are you going to do that in 12 minutes? Or are you just going to extend the lesson that you have? And I'm afraid that what happens is that we would extend our day, we would extend that lesson, and as a result of that, whatever material that you cover on that Friday, when do you make that up? And there are 36 Fridays in a school year, and you're looking at potentially 6 weeks of missed instruction that you have to figure out, where do we incorporate that in those smaller periods of time? Could that be done? Absolutely. Are there people who are doing a good job of that? I'm sure there are. But for us, our concern was that teachers won't be able to cover the same amount of material in one period in 12 minutes as they would over 5 periods of 48 minutes. Teachers aren't going to start a new lesson with 12 minutes left. It's just not a effective use of time, and we're worried that kids would lose way too much instruction. One article that I read over a 4-day week was that it showed that after moving to a 4-day week, there were initially no changes in student achievement. But after 3 to 4 years, it was a different scenario. Kids weren't performing at the levels that they were prior to moving to a 4-day week. Now, this is an idea that is really catching or taking hold throughout the nation. And I think as more data is gathered, we get a more accurate picture. But initially, that's some of the things that I have seen. I believe that there are several schools, it's either in Oklahoma or Missouri, that have moved this model. And I think that over the next several years, we'll start getting a more accurate picture of how a 4-day week impacts student learning. I think the final topic that I want to touch on as it pertains to a 4-day week or as it pertains to a modified school calendar is this. Both ways are intended to provide relief to students and teachers. I want to go back and I want to touch on the teacher issue. I briefly did that in yesterday's video. But friends, education is in crisis mode. School districts, especially your small school districts, your rural school districts, we have been screaming for years about a teacher shortage. Now your larger districts, the Department of Education has been sympathetic for years about what small districts are going through, but school districts and our department, we have been screaming about a teacher shortage and teacher turnover issues for at least 8-9 years. And I'm not going to go into the reasons why. There's a much larger, much longer conversation, but I will tell you this. We are going to have to work to find ways to retain teachers, ways to be creative and help teachers. I've been told that a local university is graduating only 17 education majors this year. 17. That is for all of Northeast Arkansas. I believe when I graduated from ASU in the late 90s, I graduated with over 150 education majors, and now we're down to 17. Folks, we have to find ways to keep our teachers fresh and wanting to come back, or I'm afraid of what education is going to look like in 10 years. If this keeps up, there won't be classes of 15 to 20 kids. You'll be looking at classes of 40 kids and 50 kids, and that is a model that's just not effective for long periods of time. And so I think that these different calendars are something that school districts are going to have to look at as we continue going down this path. So that's all I wanted to discuss today. There's still some more issues, but I wanted to keep it short and brief. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Like I said, if you've got any more questions, make sure that you email me at writem@mtree.k12.ar.us. See you tomorrow. Have a good day.